Good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to meet you all. I think this is the first time, right, that we are seeing each other in person. Maybe before, pero it was a huge class. That's why it's nice to see these faces up close in this small group. And I'm also really excited this afternoon to be sharing something that I think is relevant not only in my profession but in development communication, especially in the field of science. And I chose to discuss this afternoon the topic promoting science literacy and technology appreciation. And during the discussion, I encourage you, if you have insights, you can share your insights. And later on, maybe I will be asking a few questions as well. So basically, in its most basic definition, science literacy is the knowledge of science. Technically, scientific literacy is the capacity to use scientific knowledge in order to understand and help make more decisions about the natural world. Basically, it's using scientific knowledge in application in our daily lives. So that's the most basic definition of scientific literacy. So when we say we are scientifically literate, we also have the scientific attitude, which teaches us how to think and not what to think. So basically, it's really the application of science in our everyday life. So scholars and scientists categorize science literacy into three: popular science literacy, civic science literacy, and cultural science literacy. So this is actually a very short topic. First is popular science literacy. Popular science literacy allows us to solve everyday problems without depending too much on others. Basically, it's the application of scientific principles and techniques to handle ordinary problems in everyday. I think the most common examples of these are DIY home hacks like mosquito traps, cleaning white shoes. I have seen so many videos of cleaning white shoes using home products. Actually, these are just DIY projects, but when you actually research about it, it has scientific foundation. How about you? Can you give examples of um, approaching or solving everyday problems using science? Can you cite any examples, or have you seen other people use science to solve simple everyday problems, common everyday problems?
I think as of now, I can't think of anything, but maybe like the home remedies, siguro, like the use of baking soda. I also know that baking soda, when you put it into the sink with vinegar, it easily dissolves your sink. Parang yung madali niyang, yeah, you get it.
Yes, that's true. Home remedies, those that are really scientifically accurate, hindi yung narinig lang natin sa mga lola at lolo natin, no? Also, cleaning products, right? Cleaning products, those have scientific foundation. Next, civic literacy. It permits us to participate intelligently in policy and decision making, especially on important science-generated issues. It says that being civic science literate presupposes that a person does not support or oppose any controversial scientific issue without good, valid reason that are grounded on substantial understanding of the scientific principles and processes involved. So basically, civic science literacy is being able to contribute to scientific discussions that are based on good and valid reasons. So it can be formal, academic, or professional discussions in schools, in offices, or even between your small networks of friends, families. So if you are able to contribute substantial information or knowledge about science that is considered civic science literacy. And lastly, cultural scientific literacy. It comes about when science and of course its product technology becomes an important part of our culture. Are you familiar with these photos? Sineskwela. Can I
Yes.
see a raise of hands? Those who have seen, have heard? Ay, ganun talaga. Of course,
Yeah.
alam na alam eh. I think being in the same generation, we are familiar with Sineskwela and other math and science television shows, and who have also participated or have done scientific experiments, science school fairs. Have you? So these are examples of things, of activities, scientific activities that have been done from generation to generation, and that has been now a part of our culture. Although I believe that we are born in different years, but still, when I ask you if you are familiar with this, you answer that you are, meaning it has become part of our culture. So this is an example of popular cultural science literacy, sorry. Another example of this is um, science museums. Are we familiar with the Mind Museum? So,
Yeah.
and this one is part of my childhood, really, the mobile planetarium where you crawl inside and then inside you watch the stars and the planets, and then somebody will talk about space. So these are examples of cultural science literacy. And here I really chose this topic because I think it's important in promoting science in general, especially for us development communicators, especially for me as a teacher, because understanding science literacies helps us bridge science to our target audience by um, better understanding their baseline knowledge, what are the context of those knowledge, and so for us to better um create our material that is in line with those science literacies. So I guess that's it. It's a very short topic, but I think it's a very relevant one in really promoting science to the general public and to our target audience. And that's it. Thank you very much. If you have questions or insights, you may
Thank
ask
you.
them now.
Thank you, Mom Tonat,
Thank you, ma'am.
for your report. I would like to address a question.
Sure, Diane.
In your report, you mentioned Sinisquela as part of the cultural aspect. And growing up, I think all of us who are here are very familiar with it, and we all know what Sinescuela was like before. So you mentioned Sinescuela, and do you think that if it was still airing today, can it help improve science literacy? And should we bring back those kind of medium in the present time?
Thank you so much for a very wonderful question. Kidding aside, I think definitely, Diane, definitely it will help promote science literacy and promote science and technology, especially to our younger audience. Um, Time and time, it has been proven that media is an effective tool for education. And I think one of the greatest example of that is our younger generation, how our children now are very capable of speaking in English, even without formal education. 1 year old, 2-year old kids are very equipped in speaking English. And where do they learn that from? From what they watch, right? In media. So I believe that if we have those kinds of shows, kinds of media products now, it will really have a big impact in promoting science literacy. And On a side note, I believe there are still math and science television shows now, but it wasn't as prevalent as our time before, because I think um uh the loss of ABS-CBN has also um impacted that, na medyo less na yung nakikita ng mga bata because they have to have cable or they have to have internet. So, yung mga families na medyo underprivileged, less na yung nakikita nilang science shows na ganun. So, yeah, I think we should bring those back.
I agree. Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
You mentioned earlier regarding your experience with the planetarium. So it's kind of an immersive type of learning wherein you can be able to see, the other side of what we don't see in a daily basis. So how was your I would just like to ask, how was your experience, and how did that impact you today as a teacher?
Actually, to be honest, it was uh right now it's now a blurry experience because I was really young when we had that in school. But I think what I can share in my most recent experience with science is when I volunteered for the Mind Museum. Are we familiar with the Mind Museum? So the Mind Museum had a sort of caravan where they go from cities to other cities, and they went here in Cagayan de Oro, I think a few years back, and we had the chance to volunteer. So there were a lot of science experiments. I think the one that we had was with slime, and there were different stations. It was in a mall. It was in Centrio Ayala Mall. So in the activity center, there were a lot of other stations talking about um, the ocean, talking about different things, chemistry, physics. So I think the one assigned to us was about slime. So the kids were immersed in making slime, and there were a lot of other experiments. And but before that, we had undergone a training about science. We had to do all those experiments first, and I think what I got from that experience that I'm bringing until now is that um students or the children or people will really appreciate science if they understand it better. If they understand it better. Okay. And if we make it fun for them. I have seen not only children but even adults have fun in that activity, and in while they're having fun they're also learning, and I seek to do that in my classes as well. Although I'm not teaching science, but I believe I can incorporate science even in my classes. No, even in teaching simple things, the science behind those simple things. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Tonette.
Thank you. Okay, so I guess that is it. Thank you so much for your questions and your insights. And I hope that you got something out of our discussion. And thank you so much. I hope to learn from you as well.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Yon.